Hello, everyone. Welcome to Irina Studio. Today, in this perfect rainy day, I'd like to continue my conversation about the life of the pianist and about the other side of my occupation as a pianist, a vocal coach. So everything I do actually is very well connected, whether I play solo or I collaborate with incredible musicians, instrumentalists, or I end up in the opera theater, or I work with the singers. Everything is very well connected and complement each other. So my job as a vocal coach, which I love deeply, I think it's genuinely very close to me, since my grandmother was a singer, and I heard this incredible coloratura voice in my house when I grew up in St. Petersburg every day. She used to sing all the arias from all the operas impeccably. She had a perfect pitch and incredible music memory. So I grew up listening to her, and I'm very grateful for that. So the most important side when you decide to become a vocal coach, the most important thing you can do to become a good vocal coach is to go to the theater, any theater, opera theater or drama theater. Believe me, it's incredible experience, and please never stop doing it. Please never stop watching the productions. I encourage you to watch only the best productions, but also it happens that nowadays we have a lot of contemporary productions, controversial productions. Please go and observe, discuss what you see, and try to understand, especially how drama actors, how they're able to create the characters without support of the music, how much they have to dedicate themselves to articulate right, to articulate every word, to pay attention to phrasing, to climaxes of their speeches, especially if it's a monologue. I grew up, as I already mentioned, in St. Petersburg, and I had the privilege while studying at the conservatory. I would attend a lot of drama theaters, and one of them is Молодежный театр на Фонтанке. They opened the doors for me, backstage doors, which was an incredible, fascinating experience because I was allowed to be during the rehearsal process. And I remember very well, even now, that the director, Spivak, was working on Ostrovsky piece, Гроза, the storm, and he was working so intensely with the main actress, Katerina, that everybody on the rehearsal was so involved emotionally. And, you know, the way he worked with her, it was continuous collaboration, continuous exchange of the thoughts, how to say this, how to feel, how to put through yourself all these emotions, which would, you know, at the end affect the audience. So it was an incredible experience. Thank you, my friends from St. Petersburg, to introducing me to the theater. And as I mentioned before, please never stop going. Nowadays, during this pandemic time, we have an access to endless incredible productions from all over the world, from all over the theaters, drama theaters, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Novosibirsk, Belarus, London National Theatre. I'm just mentioning drama theaters, not to mention, of course, all the opera houses, big opera houses, which stream for you the best productions ever. So please don't miss this opportunity. And I spend actually literally every day watching and thinking about productions I see. Another thing which might be very helpful is continuously learning languages. Of course, you have to acquire some grammar books, or you can go online, try Duolingo, or you can enroll into universities, which I did because I'm very old-fashioned and I prefer to communicate with students around me and with the professor. Actually, I also noticed for myself, especially now, we have to wear masks and we don't see each other's faces. It's kind of difficult to understand what people are saying. So I prefer to see their faces, especially when I learn language, to see the expression, the mimics, articulation. It's very important. And the most important thing for me as a musician and a vocal coach is not just get the right grammar and try to speak the language, of course, and read it, but to fall in love with the words, because every language has incredible, beautiful words and combination of words. Just try to listen to how they sound. Eventually, you'll apply it to the music, and with the music, it works amazingly. Well, as an example, of course, Russian is my native language, my first language, and I just love it. Love some words, how they sound. Like from one of my favorite romances by Rachmaninoff. Душистой мглой ночь напоила мир уснувший. Even without the translations, the way it sounds, it's amazing. It's so poetic and beautiful. So every language I deal with, it can be Italian or French, they are beautiful and they have words. Eventually you would have to, you would have to accent them as a keywords, for example, where the phrase goes to. These words need to be pronounced a certain way and it becomes very powerful. It can be romantic powerful, or it can be evil powerful, or if it's a climax of a scene, like in Rigoletto, pietà, pietà signori. It can become very forceful and very powerful, as I said. Please fall in love with the languages and with the words, and never stop learning it. They're worth it. All the languages, they're worth learning and reading, and especially poetry in those languages. It's worth repeating all over again. And as I said already, when you finally see the score with music supporting those words, as I already mentioned, going to the drama theater, you learn how to appreciate actors acting everything out without the support of music. I already had the respect for them, really, because singers, you are very privileged because you have orchestra to support you, you have a conductor to guide you through, or you have a pianist you work with, and eventually if you go on stage with, also you get incredible support with the music all around you. So please make sure that you don't forget how important the words are, because when you finally, another layer, when you finally start to sing with your incredible, beautiful voices, plus you know exactly what word means what and what is articulation, your performance becomes incredibly powerful. Of course, I want to mention two giants of the opera stage. One is Fyodor Shaliapin, Russian bass, and another Maria Callas. Of course, I read books about them, and I watched documentary how they studied, how they worked so hard, being so talented, but still every day they would dedicate a lot of time to think about the role. And the most importantly, also I just read recently about Maria Callas, how thoroughly she was following the score. This must be a rule for everybody. Singers or pianists, everybody, we have to religiously follow the score and try to understand all the markings of the composer, because they mean a lot, really. When you come prepared and you know the score like that, not only just write notes and write words, beautifully sung and beautifully pronounced, but also dynamic markings, articulation, why those rests are here, how it connects with the phrasing, how everything goes together, and why. This question I always ask as a coach. Yeah, we discuss a lot. We collaborate with the singers who comes to me. And my favorite question is why? And it makes us think together. And of course, as much as I challenge you, you also, incredible singers, you all challenge me, no matter what level of your development and of your career, you always challenge me, and it's incredible, beautiful and creative process to work together on understanding the material, understanding why these beautiful words go together with this music, and sometimes not very beautiful words, why they are used. Because the next thing I want to mention, of course, I'm Russian, and yeah, it's like no surprise, I'm hired most of the time as a Russian coach because I know language so well. I was born, grew up, and got my education in St. Petersburg. So language has different styles. It can be not only poetic, beautiful, noble, aristocratic, as, for example, in Boris Godunov, Mussorgsky's opera. There is a Tsar, it's one approach to the role. Completely different is Pimen. He is a monk. The Russian language is different and the music is different because composers, all the good composers we deal with, and we almost all of the time we deal with the best masterpieces. So all the composers, they follow the intonation of the speech, they follow the styles of the language. My goal is just to lead you through, just give you some cues about the style. This is like old Russian style. Just imagine old country, you know, endless fields. There are no buildings. It's quite isolated. You know, I try to draw you the picture of the society of this place, and then, you know, on top of your hard work you already have done, when you create these images in your head, the right style happens naturally. Believe me, it does. Another style of the language, which is also can be, I think, only in the blood of native speaker, is a folk music. In Russian music, in Russian composers, they used a lot. And they would go to the expeditions, to the fields, as we say, to distant villages and collect folk songs, record it. And then they would use it, they would incorporate it in their works. All of great composers we know and we work with their music, Mussorgsky, Rachmaninov, Tchaikovsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, just to name the few. They all used folk music and folk melodies. They're incredibly beautiful, and there is a certain style how you approach to sing those melodies. It can be like in Rachmaninoff songs. The one I have right now is Knee to Her. It's late opus 38. For example, he gives us 5/4 in the measure, just to create endless, without particular beats, endless melody, endless, like folk music in Russia. We call this style pratyazhne, which literally means endless. So these kind of tricks and whys, please ask me, because in Russian music, it's in my blood, and my education also helps a lot. I can explain quite everything, why it's written this particular way. And once I give you a couple of cues, for sure, it complements your performance right away. Another thing, I wanted to refer you to a couple of books. I have it handy. One is Stanislavski book. This is one of my favorite, and I never part with this. I don't even lend it to anybody. So it is in Russian, but I hope you can find it in English. System of Stanislavski. And another one I just acquired on my latest trip to St. Petersburg. Those are notes from Lia Mogilevskaya. She was very famous coach during the Soviet Union time, and after she immigrated to America, to New York. So she also was connected to the theater from day one. She worked with Pokrovsky, famous director. And okay, last but not least, of course, I wanted to mention incredible job which some of my Russian colleagues did and do and will continue to do on correcting transliterations. Some scores, some Russian scores, they are a little misleading in their transliterations. So when I met Lydia Yankovskaya, the music director of Chicago Opera Theater, and she started to give us incredible lectures on, especially on transliterations. And I refer to these transliterations, and I can recommend, of course, her site, because they're very helpful, and I don't have to correct all the time all this strange glides which don't exist in Russian language, but there are lots of things misleading in certain transliterations. So the right editions, very, very helpful. And another is very important too. Please make sure when you work on pieces, on arias and on songs, please make sure you pay attention to intonation right away. This is extremely important, because it can be very distracting, because I am very ready to build layer by layer language, music, phrasing, acting, dramaturgy of the song or aria. But if it's not intonationally perfect, this is step number one. And please, I know you need another ear, you need another person to help you or to make you aware of what's going on. And of course, I'm ready to help. But just recently, I found out that there is a special program called Sonance. Sonance, quite opposite of dissonance. And this program explains you and gives you visual illustration of Fourier series. This comes from the world of physicists. And my friend physicist, Kirill Prozoment, I'll refer you to his website, of course, introduced this incredible program to me. When I tried with my far from perfect voice to sing certain notes, and I have a range of the probably of the perfect fourth, maximum the fifth. All the notes I'm not perfect with and has some roughness in the voice, they show you, to my horror, they show you like a fence in front of you. So many wrong overtones. But only one note I think I was able to get right in close to perfect. I saw on the screen this perfect line, vertical line, like in a cave stalactite. Cave stalactite was so perfect. I'm very curious if this program might help in the future for the singers. I hope it does. So please, you have any questions, I refer you also to my website, which is irinafeoktistova.com. Thank you very much. Goodbye.